welcome to Digital Shift, also known as Corporate Evolution Tales. Join us as we dive into the dynamic world of digital transformation. From illuminating case studies to captivating narratives, we uncover the stories behind companies' journeys toward digital excellence. Whether you are a seasoned corporate leader or an aspiring innovator, our podcast explores the shifts, challenges of modern business evolution. Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Digital Shifts, aka Corporate Evolution Tales. And today, my guest is Maryam. It's interesting that we have same name, but yeah, I'm very happy to have you here, Maryam. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Very happy to be invited. Thank you for that.
Amazing. Okay, would you like to do a quick intro before we will dive into digital transformation?
Sure. I'm Maryam Ghadrdan, founder and CEO of Planck Technologies, a deep tech startup in the energy domain based in Norway. And my background is as a chemical engineer. I did my PhD in process control in NTNU Norway, and then worked in Equinor, the energy operator, for 10 years. Worked in operations first, troubleshooting operational assets, and then I moved on to research and innovation department. Was the project leader of several new energy initiatives and also coordinator for the innovation processes. Was in charge of the corporate portal for innovation for some time and had a small radical innovation team where we ideated to solve the problems for the company. Then I established Planck Technologies, wanted to work on supporting the energy transition and building solutions which can be more sustainable, cost effective, and solving the current problems of the energy industry.
Okay, you said a lot of, you have great background and a lot of innovation words. So I think when we speak about digital transformation, some part of it, if not 90% of it, is about innovation. So let's start from generally. What's your opinion about digital transformation? What these words mean to you?
Yeah, for me, it's not an option, it's a foundation for growth and for resilience. So it's not also about adopting new tools, but then changing how we think, how we work, operate our systems, and also make decisions. So it's a lot has happened also in the energy domain and also in collaboration with the other industries, other parts of the value chain, which is very valuable.
Well, I think this will be my first time discussing actually the digital transformation in this kind of field. So I'm sure it will be really interesting. And let's start from the different stages. Do you think that in your field, the digital transformation can have some processes that are like that we can highlight or stages that digital transformation is going through?
If I can divide it to different phases, I would say that it started from like the general word digitalization. So we have like some simulation tools for different parts of the energy, a typical energy asset that we used, but then it was like more in silos and simple simulations with a lot of assumptions. And also started with digitizing data, moving from like manual collection of the data and also paperwork to collecting them as in a digital way. Then I think it moved on to also analytics to be able to make use of the data to infer information from that and to use it for better operation of the systems to automate. And then I think the last move was to digital first, I call it, which is more on the new trends that you see, building digital twins of the assets to use them for optimizing operations, to kind of integrate all those silos together, to add on the data. The sensors are like now IoT based, and then also a bit more focus on safety, sustainability, and efficiency. And so like the old approach was to design, when we wanted to design like a system, a platform, a very lengthy process with detailed design of that. And then after building it, the sensors were used for monitoring. Now from day one, the systems are being designed as digital twins. every component is modeled in details, and then the engineers simulate the operation before construction, optimizing also how this can perform best. And then after that, the systems are online, optimizing the maintenance schedules with AI, and also kind of using the IoT-based sensors for continuous real-time optimization. So these are like the movement that has happened. I don't know if you've heard about like this Industry 4.0. It's not only about the energy domain, but for example, I have written a book chapter on oil and gas
Yeah.
4.0, which discussed actually this shift in the energy domain, how the digital twins can support, and also a bit more on the new standardized control protocols and so on that can support with integrated operation and optimization of the systems. Also, in our current job, like what we're doing with in Planck Technologies, we are working on material discovery and design of absorption systems for gas handling, could be gas storage or gas separation, using decades of developments on the material domain. So it's also kind of a digital first approach, because instead of many trials error on like small subset of materials as potential adsorbents, we work on screening through databases of materials in a short time to kind of, based on what are the KPI and a system level, the technoeconomics and a life cycle assessment, coming up with a assumption-based system for different cases. Could it be CO2 capture? Could it be like different gas separation processes, storing hydrogen, and so on, in a very short time?
Mhm.
Yeah. So then also maybe beside the technical development, I could say also something about the tools which have been
Yeah.
developed, like maybe across industries,
Mhm.
like the business intelligence platforms like Power BI, or custom built dashboards which are used to collect data, could be finance, operations, HR, or any type of data that can be used for decision making. So like a CEO and a big corporate now, they have access to a platform, a dashboard that they can see production efficiency, emissions, costs, and anything that they require to take decisions. That these data are kind of updated frequently.
I see. And I think what we can start from, because this was a lot of information, very
Yeah.
exciting. I'm always thinking when when we speak about the digital twins, and I'm usually connecting it with the cost of the project, because of course it's like kind of a prototype, right? If I'm not mistaken, that you can understand how it will look, or like what kind of risks you have there, etc. And usually when we speak about digital transformation, it's the same there. When we need to plan a lot of stuff before even starting it, and some of the clients, or like some of the company owner, they don't want to waste their time on doing that stuff, and rather just do the action. So what do you think about that part? Like, how is it possible to manage, or is it worth of it to have that everything done before even starting digital transformation?
Actually, it's a very good point that you mentioned. You talked about cost and like the work before actually building the actual solutions, but then we should think of it a bit long term. Like when it comes to building these digital twins, it's not like one time job. The companies normally have like a core focus on core technology, core business, and they don't switch very frequently on that. So then when they build a digital twin on a system, on a setup, let's say on a oil and gas processing platform, and it's not like a one time use for that single project. Maybe the first project will be a bit more
A bit
cost
more expensive.
timeline, but then it will pay out afterwards. It reminds me of a project that I had at work before. It was like early in my career, and then I understood that like the process engineers, they are the bottleneck for
Mhm.
uh, design or retrofit of on the system. So then I needed to give data very fast to the other disciplines so that they can kind of carry on their work. And then it took a bit of time from my side because I was trying to automate everything. And so then, the data that I was given, I tried to automate the process of handling them and kind of designing the process side. And And then I could see that, it was a little bit impatient colleagues.
Mhm.
But then afterwards, when they reverted back by their results, and this iteration is quite common in many projects, then the next time they said that, okay, just freeze all the other projects, focus on this one. But then I handed over the results in 2 days to them, and that was surprising. So that's kind of the value of digitalization, and we should think of it a bit long term.
I see. Agree, definitely. And regarding generally like the processes, or when we speak about the improvements, about like managing cost and risk, do you think that in your field, digital transformation, there are some highlights that we can basically say, okay, this is usually the area that we need to improve, or this is on what we are concentrating when speaking about digital transformation?
So what we are doing at Planck, as mentioned, we're working on like designing absorption systems for gas handling. Before, our first attempt was to kind of do like brute force screening of materials. And here we're talking about more than 100,000 different material structures.
Yeah,
And then, for us, it means that like, how can we still think about saving cost down the computation time and kind of reaching the goals faster while we don't compromise on efficiency and on precision of the results. And this we could do with new methodologies that we have implemented in our tool for Planck technologies. And that kind of reduces the time of implementation because we focus on a subset of data and we kind of go for the materials which have the features that we're looking for.
hmm
So it's like focusing on what we want to solve and how can we do it and improve it in a better way. That's one thing. And there are some other challenges and other things that, could be improved because digitalization is not one single project. So then we should think about maybe kind of going from silos to integration of across disciplines, across departments and organization, and that requires collaboration, and that requires maybe change of mindset.
I see. And when speaking about the collaboration, because usually when we speak about digital transformation, I think the base of it is still the resource that you have, right? And the collaboration that is also going in the company when just starting the improvements. So is it the same for your field that you still need the right resource for what you are doing through this improvement process?
Not about like only internal resources. I think both general energy and domain. I work in energy operator and also like my current job, which is more on the energy technology domain. It's also about the value chain and how we are linked together, how the setup is built. So, just thinking about like one example is that, referring to the book chapter that I wrote together with a professor at University of Oslo, that was about how we can kind of digitalize towards optimal operation of the plants. And that requires kind of standardized solutions for control. So maybe every energy company has service company who gives service on the control systems, and they have their own solutions, their own control strategy, and also their own protocols. And that makes it again a silo. So then it has to be some activities also beyond the borders of one single company to be able to standardize the solutions which we need to kind of, automate and talk across company, because when we have a service company from like one single domain with a given control protocol, then it's also difficult to switch. A lot of costs involved here. Again, there will be, as you mentioned before, some new projects and costs here included, but then thinking long term, I see that these activities are needed.
Generally, when speaking about the challenges, do you see any major challenges that we can encounter, like in your field, regarding digital transformation journey?
It could be Different in different branches and different companies. I was working in a company which was a front runner in digital transformation. As I mentioned, there are some things to think about more beyond the borders of the companies. There are, for example, also some conservative guidelines and like risk perceptions of new technologies and digitalized solutions, which can also slow down innovation. And one example that I have, it's actually from some time ago. So I think it has definitely changed. But then that example was about using soft sensors. And that was actually my background from my PhD time. I designed a soft sensor connected to a project where we could actually, by integrating that soft sensor and designing a new control structure, we could save a good amount of energy of a very energy intensive asset. But then the guidelines that time didn't support implementing the soft sensor because of the safety concerns. So then like a mindset change would be, how can we robustify soft sensors to be able to use them? What are the practices can be here? For example, the new digital solutions, the digital twins and so on, they can help, and also implementing in a small isolated process by like testing those solutions and then expanding to other processes could be choices for that. So then it's not really blocker if we kind of think with an open mind.
I see. Great. And when speaking about challenges, I think with challenges there are also coming some lessons learned, and anything from your experience that you would like to share as the lessons that you learned for our audience, people that might be from your field, for them to know not to repeat.
Very good question. So maybe some points I already mentioned. One of them of long term. So then digital transformation is not one single project. The other is that we could start small and then scale it, and also think about integration of the solutions together. Other point comes to my mind is that people matter more than tools. So technology succeeds when the teams believe in it. And as it was a very good practice for me over the years of my experience, start from the problem, because there are like this, I have heard before that we want to introduce AI and we want to use AI, but AI is a solution and it's not a solution to everything. So then it's better to start from the problem, why, be clear on the goals, and then think about the solutions available radically, not only in incremental innovation, but then in the context of digitalization, kind of also thinking about digital first, how can be this problem.
And when speaking about, so you mentioned digital twins and some more of the technologies or like the frameworks or methods that can be used. Are there any emerging technologies or trends that you will highlight for these recent years that came to your field?
Yeah. One of them, the most famous one, AI. AI is really broad terminology. So then AI in my master level time, which is some time ago, it was like machine learning and fuzzy logics and genetic algorithms. But now AI is much broader than that. And like now we were talking about NLPs and about LLMs. So it's quite broad. We need to kind of think about what problems they can solve and which one of them could be a good choice. And also, I believe in kind of also merging the fundamental knowledge with the black box solution. Then that could be also a good way to go. And digital twins is a very good solution that is also emerging. So now we're going also towards from industry 4.0 to 5.0, which is more focused on sustainability and like resilient solutions and safety-based focused, and which is also quite important. So like training operators who are working in high risk environment with VR and AR tools. That's also becoming a very good trend.
Amazing. Okay, well, as we are coming to the end of our podcast, I think one thing that I would like to ask you is the advice based on your experience and what we just talked about. I will really appreciate if you will share any advice to audience.
Yeah, very nice. Be open, think radically, and start from why, and go about the solution which kind of meets the requirement that you have in your industry.
To the point. Definitely agree. Amazing, Mariam. Thank you so much. Any last words before we will wrap up this episode?
I want to thank you for your efforts. You're doing a good job on distributing the knowledge, and also happy to always discuss more about what we're developing in the energy domain using the advances in the digitalization and also in plant technologies with what we are developing, with introducing the next generation of materials and design of systems for the energy domain. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Mary, for the interview.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You too.